Hey everybody, Sharon here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in the Cursed Legacy DLC for Dead by Daylight, going for the Adept Oni achievement. This is to get a merciless killer rating as the Oni. What you want to do is want to make sure you play this on the killer side. You're going to have to use the Oni for this, so make sure you grab him from the DLC pack or from the in-game store. You also need to make sure you get him up to level 10 to open up 3 free perk slots. Once you have the slots available, make sure you equip these as your only perks. You want Zan Shin Tactics. Then you are going to want Blood Echo, and then finally the third one is going to be Nemesis. Make sure you leave the fourth slot empty if you have that available to you. Do whatever you want for add-ons and offerings. Get into the game, and then these are going to be some tips in order to get to the Merciless Killer rating. As soon as you start up the game, the first thing you're going to notice is the effects of the Zen Shin Tactics perk. You are able to see where all the pallets and all of the vaulting spots near you are, so make sure you keep that in mind. Not super useful, but kind of interesting. To be completely honest with you, this is going to be another one of those killers where it's probably best to stick to your Dead by Daylight fundamentals in order to get the most out of him. This is going to be especially true in the early game, and the big reason for that is Oni's special ability is going to be very clunky to use if you aren't super used to him. So with that being said, I recommend avoiding it in the early game, but what you can take advantage of is a side effect of his special ability. Every time you damage a survivor and put them in the injured state, they are going to start leaving blood behind. You would normally absorb this blood with left trigger to fill up your blood fury bar in order to use your special ability. However, if you just leave the survivor injured, they are going to run around the map and they're going to leave a nice little convenient trail that you can follow. And you can take advantage of this, which should help you track them down, especially in the early game when all 4 survivors are active and spread all over the place. The advantage to this is as long as you land a hit on a survivor, losing them in a chase isn't going to be super detrimental because you should be able to track them down in a relative amount of time later if you do lose them. That being said, I do recommend filling up the Blood Fury meter fully for the first time and then holding on to it. The meter is not going to deplete until you use it, so what you can do is you can fill it up for the first time once, and then you can hold on to it and then use it at a more advantageous time later. So early on, definitely stick to your Dead by Daylight fundamentals and get your hits, downs, and hooks in, and hopefully you could build up enough points to do well in those categories. Remember the obvious Merciless Killer rating things. Make sure you avoid camping, make sure you spread your chases around to all of the survivors, and make sure you get enough hits in on everyone. Now, once you get into the late game, this is when your Blood Fury ability is going to come in handy. If you find yourself chasing a survivor in an open area, make sure you hit that left bumper to change into your alternate form. You're going to trade the katana in for a kanabo. And the difference with this is it's going to be a very strong weapon that can down any survivor in a single hit, and it can also break through obstacles such as pallets. The downside to it is it's going to have a very long attack animation, as you are going to end up smacking it on the ground for a while if you do land a clean hit. It's also going to cause a massive amount of delay if you do collide into something, so be very careful with this. His other ability is going to be the Demon Dash, which you can use to get a quick sprint, but again, it's going to be very clunky to handle, and if you manage to hit an obstacle, it's going to slow you down drastically. So, long story short, Oni's Blood Demon form is going to be very hard to use in situations where you need to turn tight corners, so again, I only recommend using it in wide open areas. It also does have a time limit on it. It will deplete as soon as your meter runs out, and then once it does, you are going to have to refill it by trying to gather up more blood from any of the survivors. So make sure you do keep these things in mind, only use it when you see it advantageous to you, and just hold on to it in the background otherwise. A really useful spot for it is going to be when it's down to you and the last survivor. What you can do is you can turn into your alternate form. You can use the Demon Dash to help close the distance between you and the last survivor, especially if they're going for a hatch or the exit gate. Then you can use the Strike ability, which should down them even if they are at full health, and then you can punish accordingly. Hopefully these few tips will help you score well in all of the major killer categories, and that should be good enough for your Merciless Killer rating. Once you wrap up the game, you are going to hit up the results screen. You should get your Merciless Killer rating. If you don't, you can always hit right bumper to check what you need to improve on. And then once you finally do manage to pull it off, you should be good for the Adept achievement as well. There it is. It's going to be for 20 gamer score. And that's all there is to it.